Welcome to the Weekly Social, folks. Everything Katy, Fulshear, Richmond, Texas. Today we have the real Jesus Ortiz with Panorama Brand Studios. Thanks for coming out today.
Thank you, sir, for letting me in today. And I'm excited to be here. We know we were both running a little late, but the most important thing is that we're here and that y'all watching us here. And
Yes.
It's a blessed Friday.
Absolutely.
I'm going to join in here too.
Yay.
Priscilla is not here today, but
You're Priscilla today.
yes, I am.
Yes.
I'm Priscilla today, guys. I got the
man.
comment section here. But yeah, here we go. Let's do it. I have some questions here. Do you have any questions you want to start off with, Richard?
Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what your company is, and what you do.
Yeah, how you doing today, guys? Well, by the way, my name is Jesus Ortiz, but I go by the real Jesus Ortiz. I actually started running that as a personal brand, and I said, let's see how it goes from there. And I've been running for a while now, so now pretty much every event that I go, there's like, oh, the real Jesus Ortiz. I'm like, where's your hat? Sometimes I'm not wearing the hat that has the personal brand.
The fedora.
The fedora, and now I'm wearing the fedora with not the personal brand. So somebody gave me an idea. It's like, hey, you should be creating fedora hats and somehow put the real Jesus Ortiz in there. It's like, that's a good idea, but I couldn't see it. I was like, just the regular hat, because my other hats have that, just the regular hats. So I mean, I love it. I love wearing hats. I just love being me.
It's good advertising.
And you have to, like, the number one thing is, like, you gotta build your personal brand, because sometimes I tell people,
You are your brand.
Yeah, you
People
are.
don't understand that.
there he goes. That's the most important thing. You are your brand, and it's about they trust you and like you. Panorama Brand Studio might be the name,
Yeah.
but if they like me and trust me, they're going for me, not because of the name. It's like when you buy Pepsi and Coke. Man, I'm going for the commercials. The commercials are really cool. Their branding. That's why I'm buying that.
right,
Because they're being creative.
And the people they bring on as well, all the celebrities, all the
Oh yes,
people.
all of that
En-
stuff.
endorsements.
Endorsements
Exactly,
and all of that stuff. So I'm actually originally from Mexico, Tampico, Tamaulipas. So I came here when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I just turned 39 on September 19th. So I've been living all my life here. I must call myself my Houstonian already, because I've been here all my life. I love Houston, even though it's so big and everywhere
it's
you
It's
go.
changed so much.
Yes,
Yeah.
man. Everywhere you go, it's like an hour. I was in Pasadena yesterday, and it was amazing. But it's like coming back, I was like, man, I was stuck in traffic.
That's great for us for real estate, but not good for us for traffic.
Right.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, it's changed so much. In the last, especially the last 10 years, I feel like it's just grown.
But I loved it.
Explosive.
I loved it. Sometimes, I
Explosive.
mean, the traffic must be there, but if you're being active and being productive on what you're doing, it's okay. I mean,
Yeah. Well, your city's either growing or dying.
there he goes.
So I'll take the growth over shrinkage.
Yes.
We are the place that everybody's coming to, not leaving from.
A lot. And you get to meet so many different people, variety of food, and here in
International
Houston,
city.
international. I love food. I don't know about you,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
but I love food.
Yes.
I know you were telling off camera you like Cuban food. So that,
I love Cuban pork. It's hard to find, but there is a couple places.
yes.
I love Mexican food. Most people think that Tex-Mex is Mexican food. I love Ambrisa. Julio and his crew
Ambriza's
does a
good.
really good job at the street corn there.
Yes.
Yeah, we were there
I
for
love
the
the corn.
Alzheimer's walk, but we
Yes.
had that dinner there. And
I
I've never
haven't
had that
been
before.
now. They made a second floor, right? Where they doing like bar stuff in the Centera?
That I don't know. You could be correct.
Because I haven't been to that. I remember they were saying, promoting that, and I was like, I need to go. And they said they were going to close around 2 on that. I was like,
Yeah.
I have never been. But the food there is good. I like the margaritas. Everything's good. It's the presentation, too. That matters as well.
Yes.
And customer service.
Yes.
Because
Yes, customer
before that, before all of this stuff, I used to work in a restaurant business. When
Oh, wow.
I actually went to college for restaurant management.
Okay.
And I dropped out of college. It wasn't for me. I said, no, this is not for me. I got to do something, But I went straight to the restaurant business right after I was 18.
Okay.
And one of my friends owns a restaurant. He's still to this point. He said, Jesus, I cannot put you in my restaurant. I'm full staff, but I know another owner that can put you there. And I remember at that time, it was not like this. Like, I'm talkative and building relationship. I was like, dude, I cannot work in a restaurant. I don't even know how to
Introvert.
talk to girls. Yeah. I don't even talk to girls. And he's like, dude, you need help. Your mom is already telling you need help around the house. You need to get a little job there. And I was like, sure. So, man, I still remember to this day, man, I said yes. And it was on a Friday. And, back then, the restaurants were actually super busy.
Oh,
now, it's not like how it is today. Man, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there was like a big line outside of the
Super
restaurant.
Bowl weekend, every weekend.
Oh my God, it was like I got home and my mom was like, "How was it, son?" I was like, "I ain't going back. My legs hurt. My legs hurt. Too many people. I was overwhelmed to see everybody running around and you know, people on the line waiting a list." And I was like, so I did my 3 days. I sat down with the owner and the owner said, "So what do you think?" And I was like, "Do you want to take the job?" Automatically, I said no. I didn't even thought about it. I said no. I was like, automatically, I said no. He's like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Oh man, I really not really good talking with people, and I don't think this is fit for me. I know I went to college for that out this, you know, at the beginning, but I don't think so." And then he's like, "Why don't you try? Come here, son." So he got me up at the where we were sitting, and he brought me to a booth. He's like, "This is your business. Treat it as your business. It's not mine. This little booth is your restaurant." He just gave me that idea. Become a storyteller.
Entrepreneurship.
He told me, become a storyteller.
Yeah.
Oh,
And from there, I just said, "Okay, I'll take it. It's just one booth. It's gonna hurt."
Right.
And from there, my journey started. I started building myself as a storyteller. And then from there, he started seeing that I was doing good fast. So he started saying, "All right, I can give you another booth table." And then from
So
there,
you're franchising your business.
yeah, I was franchising. See, there he goes. I didn't understand. So I was
Very
moving.
wise man.
Very,
Yeah,
boom,
that's-
boom. So he gave me those few words, and I actually took them, and I exploded myself there. That I started just becoming better manager. I was in the restaurant business for about 8 years. So in the last pretty much 6 or 7, he sit me down again. He's like, "Hey man, you know Belleville, Texas?"
Oh yeah.
Yes, Belleville. He's like, "I have a
Lovely
restaurant
little
there.
community.
I love it." He was like, "I got a restaurant there that my cameras were looking at the guy that was running there. He was stealing money from me."
Oh,
And I
wow.
knew he was, and he never came up. I gave him the chance, and he didn't know that I had cameras in there. So, what do you think about you running the restaurant? I think it's your time. And I was like, that was my dream. Like, my dream was to actually make it there and run a restaurant. I was like, what do you? He's like, the only thing is that you're going to have to drive all the way to Belleville, Texas. It's about an hour. And said, "Oh, I'll take it."
Worth it.
It's worth it. I said, he's like, "I haven't even told you about how much money and
Yeah.
everything." I was like, "I'll take it. I
It's
know
the
I deserved
it's
it."
the opportunity.
It's the opportunity.
Right.
So,
Experience
man,
as well.
I went in there. Before I stepped into Belleville, I went to see the little town and who was there. I was doing my
It's a
homework.
cool downtown.
At that time, since I was still around 23 or 24 at that time, I was like, let me see who lives here. I was doing my homework, and I was like, a lot of people my
Feasibility
age.
reports, what I call that.
There he goes. I was like, there are people my age. I was like, everybody's closing down around 9. I was like, So I asked him, can I close later? Can I, he's like, you do your thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna, So I started closing at 2. I brought a DJ.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Wow.
I started bringing a DJ. That restaurant, just the numbers, he's like, "Hey man, the numbers I see, they're really well."
Wow, that's
Because
awesome.
I had people my age,
Right.
and they didn't have nowhere to go. It was closed. They didn't want to, from Belleville to downtown Houston, they didn't want to drive. So I turned it like a little club thing.
Your vibe created your
You
tribe.
were 23.
I was around
24.
24 around their time. Yeah. And I brought my friend was the DJ, so I brought my friend, and he's like, "What do you think?" He's like, "Dude, look at that. People are giving me $100 as tips." They're like, they were giving him 20,
Oh,
40.
wow.
So he's like, "Oh, you got me, man. I'm coming here on the weekend." And I was like, myself, I was like the team. I had a good team. So I started leadership. That's the number one thing, too, that you got to learn about that. I had to step up, and them seeing me as a leader.
Right.
And I have to be there. Those are the things that sometimes in this life point that I see a lot of people, "Oh, I'm a leader, but you don't see it because
Leader
They
doesn't
call.
mean you crack the whip.
Yeah.
Leader means that you're towing the rope out in front of them.
yeah.
People don't get that.
And they started seeing that, and so I just got, every time we had meetings, I was like, "All right, guys, I cannot come here every day," because I was there every day. So let's make a calendar where some days I'm here, I'm taking care of the restaurant. Some days you are here. So, because I know all of us, some people were leaving there, but I was leaving for. So it was great. The team loved it. The cooks were amazing. It was like everything was in point. I was checking, hey, what are we missing?
Yeah.
We need this because Saturday is coming, and we know the DJ, we got to be rocking. So everything, I was prepared. So the owner would come by, and we was like, "Man, I don't even got to tell you anything, man. You're
Just do
doing
your
your
thing."
thing, man."
Yeah.
And at that age, I was like, whoa. I was like already building a lot of things. Money was great.
Age is irrelevant, is what you
Yeah,
just said.
age is
It
irrelevant.
Right.
I sometimes I wish but God puts you in those positions for a reason.
He does.
I became an alcoholic. The bad thing is that I became an alcoholic from there,
Oh,
man.
I'm
So I
sorry.
was drinking from like Sunday to Sunday at that age. Like
Yeah.
I had to have the drink. Like I was
Yeah.
sometimes drunk working at the restaurant
you
and
can't
stuff
do
like that. And And to me, I was still, because I was young, I had the energy. They didn't even know. I had this, I already built my reputation of speaking and laughing and making people laugh. So they didn't know I was drunk. So, you know, they just like, damn, he's good at what he does. But that felt me wrong, because throughout those years, I was like, man, this is not right. You know, drinking and all this stuff, it's not going to get me nowhere.
No.
I know. And I mean, the money was good. I wish, like I said, God puts you in those opportunities. Imagine, I always had this time, man, I wish that I had somebody that was already doing something to invest money and other stuff, so I could put my money. Because I didn't put my money anywhere. I was just wasting money on going out to the clubs and yeah. So
spending money's easy.
Yeah. And I knew
keeping it's the art of the deal.
that's the hardest part. And I knew that I was going to come back and make it again. So I was like, I'm not worried about it. I'm good at what I do. I'm going to make it again.
That's a trap in that industry, because they get paid every day.
Yes, it was a trap.
So if they have a big night, I'm going to make X amount tomorrow. It's no big deal.
There's no big.
But they never get off that treadmill or the hamster wheel. Exactly.
My mindset was like all
dangerous.
wrong. That was dangerous, man.
Yeah.
And I remember to this point when I met my ex-wife now, she said, hey man, if we're gonna be together, but it was not at the restaurant. Right at that time, I already had moved at the restaurant. I got off. It was enough for me, 8 years. You know,
I started my sales career in restaurants.
For real?
Downtown
cool.
Chicago, 5-star restaurant.
Oh, Chicago, man. Chicago's a nice place.
Fine dining waiter. I became head waiter in about 6 to 8 months. I was the youngest guy there. And, but I figured out, and there was some resentment, and I was like, you've been doing this 20 years. You should be my boss. The problem was they got paid every day, and most of them were drug addicts or alcoholics. And once I figured out what I was surrounded by, I had a short stint in it because I didn't want to be subjected to that. You know what? So it's a lifestyle type business.
I'm just very thankful, because that's kind of like I took it seriously. It become a storyteller, become something that you want to be in the future. So I took those points from the owner, like maybe if I'm working on right now, later on in the years to now, it's gonna be worth it, and he was.
Great nuggets he gave you.
Great nuggets, man.
Very
great nuggets. And I still have friendship with him. I haven't seen him in years, but I don't know what happened to him. But I know that the restaurants are not here no more. They're all closed. But I'm thankful. I wish I could see him again and be like, hey man, look, thank you for all those things.
Yeah.
I know I became that alcoholic person, but that was a part of my life. And
Good
then
experience.
and
Good
experiences,
experience.
man. And then I just
It's a lesson.
a lesson. There we go.
It's
I
never
learned
a failure, only a lesson.
Never. Yeah. And I started doing a lot of different jobs. I worked in the construction field as well, and that's when I started seeing. I was a teacher as well. I started seeing little things that I started like, and I was moving fast, and I was a leader. I was a leader of a group. So I was like seeing, like, you always got to see the bigger picture. I was like, okay, I'm working at all these jobs, and I always have an opportunity to be a leader. So there has to be something right that I'm doing, because if they're putting me as a leader and getting paid a little bit more, I'm doing something right. So I was like, I'm building myself right. I just have to, find mentors and coaches, because sometimes you got to have a mentor and a coach.
There's no shortage of success. A lot of people have that mindset, well, he's successful, so I can't be. That is so far from the truth. There's a shortage of people willing to achieve success. That's the problem.
That's very true. That's very true. Coming out to this 2014, somewhere on there, when I separated from my ex-wife, and it's a big story, so next time I'll talk to you about it. I don't know when it's going to be, she took my baby girl and left back to Mexico, so I didn't see my baby girl for like 2 years. My daughter, she's 12 now, so now I get to see her, and thank God she comes on vacation. But
does she still like you?
Yeah.
I'm a parent, so
yes, man. No, and this is the best thing.
Cherish every moment of it. You know what I mean?
Since she was 5, I started teaching her the entrepreneurship, and I started showing her the corporate world.
Wow.
So now that she's 12, she knows both worlds. So instead of 5, I consistently was telling her, hey, look, this is Daddy's calendar. This is your calendar. This is both of our calendar. I was teaching her, you don't bother Dad when he's doing this, but when Dad is done, that's it. This is your time. So if Dad does mess up on something,
you're completely present.
Yes.
Right.
I was present. So all of those stuff, I see it now as a kid being that age. It's good to teach them those ways, because they keep it. Now that she's 12, I remember when
if you talk to them like they're little kids, you're treating them like little kids. If you talk to them like they're adults,
they gotta be.
They become adults.
They become adults.
They do. I agree.
The funny part is that I think she was like 7, I think, and his grandpa called me. He's like, "Hey man, your daughter's over here. We went to buy some food at the store." And then when we were getting out, she rolled the window and she was out selling tomatoes and onions to people while we already bought. Like she had, I was like, good. So she started. She took places, it, and now that she's 12, she has already telling me this is where I want to go. At this is what she loves art. Okay. So she wants to create herself as art. She says like, how can I make this and educate other people about this? I want to tell my story on a podcast of what happened to me, so people can know of those 2 years that I didn't get to see you. The behind the story stuff like haven't happened, and create something like a subscription membership. I was like this. I was she's like, 12. Well, I was not doing that when 12. I've been here, been here. But I think I
riding BMX bikes.
There we go. Me too. Yeah, or playing outside. Games, playing outside. And I'm like, whoa, she's really smart. I said I'm doing something right. And I was like, instead of me, trying to buy her all of this stuff that I did at the beginning, I was trying to be the Johns, seeing the other Johnsons. Oh, they have the better iPad. I was like, no. And she told me stuff. She told me once, I will never forget this, man. If you have kids, there was one time where at the beginning when I barely started seeing her, she came to me and I was on the phone. And while she was right here, and she came and grabbed the phone with me, and she just looked at my eyes and said, Dad, I barely see you. This is like the second time on vacation, and you're on your phone. So are you going to pay attention to that, or are you going to pay attention to me? Man, that turned my mind. I just took the phone and I said, to be
a lightning bolt hit.
That hit me because I'm like, I didn't even get to see her a lot, and I'm over here trying to, and she
sounds very mature
and at that time she was around 6 when she told me that. Wow. So I just actually took the phone and I said, all right, let's play. And she just wanted to play with the clay and stuff. Like a 6-year-old. But that hit me right. So now I understood that, like, if you're a parent, give your time to your kids.
Be present. Don't just be there. Yes. Be present in the moment.
At that moment.
In the moment.
In the moment. Right. I learned that. That's why I started creating those calendars. And she could understand. Daddy has to do this, but when that is done, no more paying attention to this. I'll take care of it tomorrow. If any other emails, this is your time.
Yeah. With that, what's a good way you could give advice to people who are just starting out in parenting, just new fathers?
Fathers?
People probably about my age. What's some good advice?
How old are you right now?
I'm 22.
Oh, you're 22? Man, you're in a good age. I always tell, even right now, I have actually talked when I was in the school. When I was working at school, I worked for 5 years. I actually, out of the kids that I was working, there was a group of girls, 5 group of girls that I started teaching them about entrepreneurship. Started at that age. They were 12, 13.
You don't learn that in college.
No, you don't learn that. So, man, they made me. The parents came at that day, and the girls were on a table, and the parent went, and she's like, "Let me listen to them," and I was listening too. The girls were already creating a plan, like, okay, you're gonna take care of the email list. I'm gonna take care of the marketing. They were trying to create who's gonna have what is the name, but it was all me.
It's teamwork.
Like, I took that, when I was working at the school, I said, I want to teach this kid something that is valuable and that they want to learn it right now and that they can start it right now. That they don't have to wait to go to college because their mindset. They're like, sometimes us as parents are like, they come and tell us like, hey, Dad, I want to do this. And you're like, whatever, it's something. No.
Don't do that.
Never do that. Like, that's a good thing. Never do that. When your kids come and tell you something, sit down. Don't brush them out. Yeah. Sit down and listen. I learned that now. When my daughter comes, I sit down and I told her till this point, I said, I'm not going to tell you anything like I'm going to be mad. I just want to listen to you. I'm going to give you my opinion and you tell me what do you think.
Don't just say no. Don't say no. I feel like a lot of parents just say no. Like, no, that's unrealistic and that's just a waste of time. You should at least listen to your kid. And I think I'm not a parent. Yeah. I'm just doing this as from my experience as a kid with my parents. You should just listen to them and give your adult answer, and supervision, I guess, over what they're trying to achieve. But support them.
Sometimes failure and success runs parallel. If the kid never experiences failure, he's never really going to grow. So if you're already keeping him out of the trap doors at all times, what are they truly learning?
Right. Especially when kids, like, I read this article once a long time ago. Kids, usually they'll drop something or they'll break something. And they do that to experiment. And a lot of parents get really angry with them. And you really shouldn't. They're trying to experience, like, what if I drop this glass thing? What if I spill this? Oh, that happens. And they're just
they don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know. They're brand new to this world. They don't know what they don't know. I feel like that's one of the huge things that people should do with their kids. It's just, like, let them have fun and let them try and let them learn. And it might lead to other things. Or, heck, maybe that one thing that they're laser focused on, that might grow one day, and you just should really be in tune with that. As for me, I feel like that was kind of brushed off with what I wanted to do when I was young. Like, no, that's too much, or that's not going to be for you. You know, I feel like definitely listening to your kid, regardless of their age too. Yeah, if they're 6 years old and they actually want to do something that might seem unrealistic because they're 6. I don't think that you should do that. You know. Yeah. But that's just from my experience, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not harming themselves or anybody else. As long as they're
within reason. Within reason, right. Yes. But communication is the number one thing, and it goes with everything, with business, with your wife and your husband, with the kids. Everything has to be like in there in the house before everybody leaves. It's like, okay, making sure that what we're gonna do, what we're gonna meet, if we're gonna meet dinner here. It's a lot. It took me 2 years to heal for my ex-wife and everything, but that 1 year I started looking about how can I make myself better as a man, a better father, a better human, and I was starting to see how can I be a better husband in the future if I'm gonna marry somebody. What are the mistakes that I did now so I won't make them later? And then I started realizing other people's relationships, and I started helping other people. So like, oh man, you helped me. Like I started helping a couple of other friends, and they're like, I started seeing that it was what my opinion to them, and then I just gave them my opinion, and they actually applied it, and they're like, "Hey, thank you for that. My relationship went to a top notch because you told me this." Because I took that whole year. I'm like, "What does women think? What does men think?" And I started it was a crazy whole year. On that.
A book that helped me in relationships called The 5 Love Languages.
I haven't read it. You're the third person.
I highly recommend that because typically you have a certain language that you lean towards, whether it's acts of service, gifts. I mean, it's now, all 5 are important. I'm not discrediting any of the 5, but you need to figure out what the number 1 is in that person's life, and communicate with that.
Communicate with that, yes.
And it has to be reciprocated back, and that's when you really start.
Yes.
So if you haven't read it, I'm not going to be a spoiler.
No, don't spoil it.
I highly recommend.
Now that you're the third person, I have to get it. Because somebody else, when I told them the story about helping other people, said, you need to get that book. Yep. You need to get that book.
What is it called? The 5 Love Languages?
The 5 Love Languages.
The 5 Love Languages.
Okay, I might get that too.
Highly recommend it.
And like I said,
and you're gonna read it a couple times.
Yes, one time. I'm gonna do it. I love reading. When I read 3 or 5 times that same book, because what I didn't get in the first, second time, I get it in the third. It's different every time. Yeah.
If I read a book that's really good, I typically read it 3 to 5 times, just like what you just said, and by the end, I typically have it mastered, but every time I'm getting like a new version of me or the book. It's a new perspective. And I'm learning different stuff throughout, yes.
It's like a different story every time, but it's the same story.
And I learned something new too when I was reading. Somebody told me, hey, just don't read just to read. What you read, and write stuff down and apply it. Because there's some nuggets in there that you're like, I needed that for the business, or for the person, or for my kids.
Write it down.
That's huge. That's huge, yes.
When I was younger in school, when we used to read books, I would always draw pictures on each page of each summary of what happened. Just a picture that something that I can resonate best with my memory.
Okay,
be like,
so you're a visual learner.
And I guess so, right? But I did like drawing, so that was also another thing. But
that's good though. Everybody has their different. Some people highlight. I don't. I don't like highlighting.
I like highlighting. Everyone's different though.
Yeah.
I make notes, and when I'm reading it and then writing it, or taking there's just I learn at a much rapider pace when I'm writing out what I'm trying to retain.
The same. And I go back to the notes. Like, yes, I remember like I found a notebook that when I wanted to do social media back in 2013 and stuff like that. I found a notebook when I had like, okay, I'm gonna go to taco trucks and Facebook and create. I was like, holy crap, I wrote this a long time ago, and I actually jumped in and went to do that, and I helped a minimal couple of food trucks at that time that they didn't know about. Oh, Facebook page, you could do that. At that time, that there was none of that. People didn't have none of that stuff, and I went in and jumped in it. I didn't even know how to do it.
Yeah,
I just went in.
Brand new back then.
I just jumped in it and went and talked to the owners and like, what is this? And it's like, yeah, look, and then I just started showing. And they were like, "Oh man, can you help me with that?" And I found that page, and my mom was like, "Whoa, you actually!" She was like, "I remember when you did that." Because I even had a friend, one of my best friends from school. He's like, he took me to eat, and he was like, "I can't believe that you just jumped in it." I was like, I couldn't do that." And I said, "I just taking a risk."
Speaking of you, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Actually, this guy's probably more famous than we are.
Look,
so.
this is
this
is what the funny thing is that everybody that comes and tells me about my podcast, I created a podcast a long time ago. It was called the Push Power to Power Show. That was, and it's still there.
That's
you can
cool
find
name.
it. You can still find it on Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube. And I did it before I even met my business partner. I started interviewing, just like yourself, that you interviewing other people, not only from here, from Houston, but I started interviewing people from LA, Chicago. All of them were business owners or entrepreneurs. But I started doing that because I wanted to learn about entrepreneurship, about business. I didn't know anything about it.
That's the best way to learn.
So I was
I actually just started my own podcast a week ago, and I'm having my second guest today later.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
I love that.
Yeah, I'll pick your brain someday so I can learn as well, because I need to level up.
Yes, man. Yeah.
He's going to ask you to be a guest next.
Hey.
And if he doesn't, he's the world's worst podcaster. Yeah. So I'm calling him out right now.
Yeah. No,
It's about giving value back, so that's good.
Right. It's just you learn so much faster, and I actually have a lot of people who I plan on having coming on soon.
Make a list.
You just, I don't know what it is. Just conversation. You can. Everyone's different, I guess, right?
I like conversation over questions.
Right? Yes. Instead of just watching YouTube videos or something, actually speaking with them and sitting down in a quiet room. That's the best way I learn. Like right now, I feel like
realistic
I've learned a lot.
Conversation. Like not a lot of people would tell you, like, this is what I always tell people: be authentic. I tell them, like, hey, man, I'm
authentic and genuine.
Genuine.
That's what I believe in.
Yep.
That's what I actually talked about in my first episode, is just being real.
Being real.
Just don't fake it till you make it. And that's a narrative people say, and I guess that's good for like your mindset. Like I am a great person. I do good at this. That's the kind of fake it till you make it I believe in, but not just straight up faking everything, because that you're not
smoking mirrors
and you're not building your own.
No, that's true. That's true.
Because when they pull that curtain back,
then it's nothing. Exactly.
Yep. And like I was saying, I started doing that the first episodes, but my homework on that, when I started it, I was like, let me do my homework and see who's a business owner, who's in entrepreneurship. And I started reaching them out on DMs. Hey guys, here in about a month, I'm going to start this podcast. Said, okay, would you like to be on the podcast? I want to learn a little bit more about your business and stuff like that. So I started creating relationship already. Yeah. Before I did the podcast, I wanted to learn from them. We got into a Zoom call or like on the phone.
Right.
Go ahead. You have a question?
I just want to say on your podcast, he would be a great candidate. I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
I'm just, you could pick his brain for probably 6 hours straight. I mean, I don't know how long you do a podcast, but you could ask him a ton of questions.
Joe Rogan style.
Yeah, Joe Rogan style. But
yeah, man, and it was amazing. I started learning, and I started getting, and I booked myself like for the first 3 months. I had a day, Monday, Tuesday for everybody, and the bad thing, not the bad thing, but I told them, guys, I have a job. The only time I can do the podcast is from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. because I was coming. Because I was coming, trying to get dinner, and then trying to get myself going on the notes. And they were like, yeah, man, that's fine. You're cool. And we started doing the podcast from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I started learning from them. And some of them I even got to meet them. They came to Houston and I got to meet them in real life. Yeah. So that was a good thing. And then from there, I got it better and better. After the 10, 12 episode, I was like, oh, cool. This is not too hard as I thought.
You start finding your way through.
There we go.
Because everybody's got the jitters when they first start.
I did.
Me too. I mean, if you look at my first videos, horrible.
No, me too.
I mean, I look like a petrified piece of wood. You know what I mean? It was terrible.
But you learn.
Leave them up because those keep me motivated to get better and better.
Yeah. I leave all of those stuff up.
I love progress like that.
Yes,
it's the process. That's what I do. I've been documenting my real estate journey.
Yes.
Oh, your first videos were horrible too, by the way.
I know. The quality was bad, and I was just quiet, and I get better with every single one, but I just love to look back and be like, wow.
Feedback is what we all need. The truthful feedback. I'm not gonna get hurt if you tell me like, hey.
It's constructive criticism, and some people are keyboard warriors and all that, and I really can't be bothered because I don't even know you, and you really can't hate someone you don't know.
No.
Right?
Man, don't judge. You know what? I applaud everybody for trying. I mean, I was standing there when I handed you the camera. Here, shoot a live video right now. Go for it.
Most people won't even try.
I'll just
say that.
Right.
They just
and you went from deer in the headlights to okay, and then you gave the effort. So
that's good. I love it, man. And then through that lesson, I got to maybe 45 episodes on the Push Power to Power show. And then at that time, I was like, how can I turn this to a business? So I got good at doing, when live streaming came, I got really good at doing live streaming. So I was like, why don't I start being a producer and directing other people's shows and me being behind it, and I'm not gonna be here, and they can do 2 podcasts a month, 3 podcasts a month, but all live streaming. You get to put it on YouTube and your Facebook, up to 5 to 8 places at the same time. So I started promoting that, and I started building my business as that, and I started getting clients. Right. It was just nothing but live streaming, and it went well.
Found a need.
I found a need.
You serviced it.
And I serviced it. Hey, and guess what? Everybody that it was here, like I built myself in Katy. Like I was not even from Katy, but I came all the way to Katy. And I just built my reputation in Katy. Everybody's like, you got to move to Katy. I will. Because I love Katy. I like Fulshear too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I spent 90% of my life in Katy. Here.
And everybody's like, you got to move to there. That's where you build. And truthfully, all my relationships are here. Like every time I'm over here.
95% of my business is within a 5-mile radius.
There we go.
Katy's growing so fast.
Oh my God. I love Brookshire too. I go to Brookshire as well.
Brookshire, especially when they get nice schools in there. People are going to start moving in there. Because that's one of the reasons people move here is because of the great schools.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just explosive development.
And it went well, guys. Like the whole live streaming, I did it for a long time. And then I was still doing it. And then that's one of the time I went to an event in at Memorial City Mall.
That wasn't mine?
No. And this was just like 2-3 years ago. And that's where I met my business partner now, Miguel. And we went there, and I took, those, you probably know Prime, the Logan?
Yeah, Prime, yeah.
They were burning.
He doesn't know. Yeah.
Prime, the drink is like a
Gatorade. It's an energy drink. It's social media influencers created.
Right, you're like, no. And it was barely coming out. I bought a whole pack, and I went to that event to Memorial, and I took mine. And I was like, let's see if people know about Prime, when I was at that event. It was a YouTube event.
Oh, everyone knew.
And no, they knew. I was drinking the Prime, and then Miguel's, hey, that's Prime, Logan's drink. And we met there, and we connected and built a relationship. That the event was over. We went outside, another hour talking outside.
Oh, wow.
And we just started building relationships. Hey, dude, we should sit down and talk about what you do and what I do.
Collaborate.
And collaborate, right?
Wait,
and
so you brought a Prime drink to
yes.
YouTube?
I brought the Prime. Genius. Yes, I brought the Prime because I'm gonna do some videos at that place and then tag Logan. See if I get a deal or something.
Yeah,
right?
he'll see.
Yeah. But Miguel was the only one that knew about it. So after that,
that's actually quite smart. Actually,
right?
You brought a Prime because that's. And I'm surprised most people didn't even notice it. Like whatever, but
yeah, I got excited.
You guys are in the know.
Yeah, yes, it's a long story.
Yes.
I'll explain it to you someday, Rich.
Okay. So he was like, "I'm leaving to Monterey tomorrow. So how we connect next week?" So he came back and I said, "Dude, I have an idea." And I said, "Why don't we?" After we met and sat down at Panera Bread, I said, whenever we were at Panera Bread, we took notebooks and everything. I said, he's like, what's your idea? I was like, you do video production. You've been doing high-end video production for like shell companies and gas stations. So I was like, how about we like bring everything together in one place? We have the podcast, the live streaming, the video production, everything that has to do content creation.
All media.
All media, right? And look, this is something that if you want to get a business partner, it's not like, let's do it. No. Me and him went to that Panera Bread so many times and writing notes and knowing, and he was calling me, hey, I got a couple.
It's a marriage.
He had a note like, let me ask you a couple of questions. And there were questions that you need to ask if you're going to have a business partner. Question after question. So he was testing me to see if I was going to be good so we can do that. At the end, the last Panera Bread, he's like, dude, you answer all the questions. Good. You answer all my questions. I like it. So I said, hey, come on over. I have a live streaming podcast on my client that I do at her office in Paimon. And he came and saw the whole production and everything. And we finished. And he's like, what do you think? He's like, this is cool. I don't know anything about live streaming. So I was like, I told him.
Complimented one another.
Yeah. And then we were at that place. And I was like, hey, dude, why don't we go check to see if they have like a little room here? Just to check, maybe we can get something here for us, for our own content. So it's funny. The landowner was there, so he's like, "Yeah, I have a room over there." So we went and he gave us a tour, and he gave us in one that we checked, and he was like, "Dude, this is perfect." So the landowner was there. At the same day, he's like, "So hey, man, what do you think about this?" I was like, "Well, we still got to talk about it. Can you give us a day?" So we took a day and we talked. The next day we came back. and he gave us an offer that we couldn't refuse.
Well, there you go.
And boom, we started there in Paimon there last year.
Yeah.
And we created the aesthetics on the podcast, and we were doing it for us, not for as a business. The business we knew that it was gonna come through just little bit by little bit. He's like, hey dude, now we can create our own podcast here, our own podcast. We can rebrand our podcast again. Like I wanted to do another one, not the what was the one? I forgot the name of the podcast.
Power to Power?
The Push Power to Power show. I want to change the name. I want to rebrand it. He's like, oh cool. So
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, he's like, I want to do mine as well, like rebrand it, and then we can create our own content here. So we started buying. The first day we went to buy the table, the Joe Rogan table. We love Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
like, we gotta get. And we bought that long table.
I can't do whiskey and cigars though.
Oh man.
We'll get you there. We'll get you smoking.
I'm not old enough for that yet, guys.
And we were so excited that day we went to IKEA. We bought the table. Cool. We came back. It was like 11 o'clock. I know we got to set this table today. We set everything. And we had to order all of the mics and everything. It's like, okay, they're coming in 2 days. So we came back and exciting, dude. It was like, and then we started creating content for ourselves. Just at that same day, we connected everything. And then we started inviting some people. And some people were like, oh man, when we had the aesthetics and everything put, they're like, so how much do you charge for you to, create my own podcast? And we were like, we're truly just doing this for us, I was still doing my business. He was still doing his business. And that's when we sat down and we're like, hey man, this is about the 5-6 person that came and asked us about starting their own podcast show. And how don't we just turn this to a business? And they're like, okay, let's think about a name. So he has a friend he only does branding. So we came in.
Naming a business is not easy.
No, it's not easy, man.
It's not.
So he came in. He asked him and me a lot of questions, and because that's what he does. That's what they do. That's what their business.
He interviewed you guys to figure out who you are and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes, right. He's like, okay,
that's good.
He's like, give me a week, and I was like, okay, boom. He came back in the week, present us the whole branding, the colors and everything. I was like, me and Miguel were like, dude, this is he did a good job.
Right. And you can't click and order that, by the
way.
A lot of people, I can just click and order the name, the brand, the logo, and you look like everybody else.
Because then you'll hate it later, and it has to stick. And then
you're going to hire the guy that he just said.
Yeah, right, yeah. Exactly. And he's a professional, so he knows what he does. I always tell people, you don't have the money or the budget, just start. Don't even think about the name. Just go for it. Make profit first.
You don't even have to have a name. You just start.
Make profit.
Something. Yeah.
Because then you can reinvest it on that. But just always have a thought like, what is going to be the name of it? So he came in, dude, and we said yes to him about everything. We loved it. He left, and he's like, I don't think I like the name. We said yes, and he's like, I don't think we like the name Panorama. And we're like, it doesn't click. And then, at the end of the day, we went home, and the next day we came back, and he's like, you know what? I like the name. And I started saying panorama, like 360. You see the panorama view of if you're in the mountains. I started seeing the creative. He's like, dude, I started seeing the same thing. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? No, this is a good name. So we called him back. And
that gentleman knew you guys better than you knew.
Yeah, he did.
He Isn't that crazy?
But he listened. He was
he
there.
Listened.
He listened. He said anything that if you need to change the colors or we need to change the name. That's why I'm here. We can do that. That's why you're paying for it, And I was like, no, dude, you did an amazing. We're going to run with this. And Panorama Brown Studios started. And then we started at 290 in Paimon. And we started. It was hard at the beginning. Just like any business. It was like at the beginning we did had a couple of people from Katy too. Yeah. And high-end people that were paying high-end money. They wanted top dollar and everything. It was like, okay, this is good. But we need to help smaller businesses as well. So we're trying to figure out the market and this and that. So the couple of months, it was like good. And then it was like down. And then it was like, and then we would sit down and we're like, after the 7 month, they're like, are we going to sink or swim? Are we going to make it? Like right now, we're like, nobody's doing the podcast. So, right. And then the guy from Katy, I don't know, you'll probably know him, Lincoln Jacobs Construction. Oh, yeah, he's here in Katy. Yeah. Mr. Oh my God, I always forget his name. Jacob, I think. Jacob, yeah. Yes, and he's like, guys, I want to help you. I want to help you the foundation of your business, because he's already a business owner, so he knows. Like, I want to help you.
He believed in you.
Yes, he's the foundation of it. So we sat down with him. He gave us the foundation, and then we were like, whoa, Miguel, we were doing a lot wrong. He's like, thank God that he came in and set us down and what the numbers and profits and everything. And from there, we restarted again. Same name, right? Just started again. And we started seeing just picking up again. The growth again.
That's awesome.
The growth again. And then everything changes because you have to pivot the market and everything. So it was a lot of...
When you start tracking and knowing your numbers, that tells you what you're doing right, wrong, and what to pivot, what to change from, so that you can start escalating.
And then you can just start rinse and repeating.
Rinse and repeat.
Exactly.
Rinse and repeat. So that all that, if you have a business, you have to like, everything changes like in a 3 or 6 month on whatever industry. And you know it in real estate, you see a lot of things changing.
Sir, he's talking.
Oh, you're good. So you have to find on your industry what to pivot right away on those 3 months and be like, let me capture that moment and let me go with it. But like you said, let me see the numbers. Let me see if that's going to work. Because if you do it consistently, if it's still working, keep it. But if it's not, you're going to waste your time. Just put it away. And
all business is math. If you don't know your numbers, you're not running a business. Right?
Yeah. So
you have a hobby.
You have a hobby. Yeah, that's true. You just have a hobby. That's true. And from there, now the time passed, and we were like, whoa, we have our website and everything. We have the prices there. So now we have the prices that the market wanted. So we figured out what the market wanted, and we put it out there.
It's not what you want.
No, not what the market needs. Yeah, not us, because that was hard. We wanted what we wanted.
Right.
You know, you sit down as
that's perception.
That's perception. And
perspectives giving the world what the world's craving.
Yes, indeed. And now we have that, but there's a lot of other people that won't customize. So now we can customize other things. They're like, hey, we just don't need podcasts. We need testimonials. Can you bring the drone? We have a house. That's a real estate people. So now we listen to the people. That's what we were not doing at the beginning.
Right.
You come in and like, I'm gonna sell you a podcast.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they didn't want podcasts. They wanted something else.
They got to be on the camera.
Yeah, they wanted something else.
Worried about what people think.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. And most people who talk BS, they're not willing to try it.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, they never do. And that's one of the big things I think people, don't worry about what people think.
Yes.
And that was something I had to overcome a bit, and I just came to the realization, it's like, it really does not matter what people say. Like,
once you figure out what people think of you, I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's none of my business. What people think of me is none of my business.
Well, you get used to it, and you're just like, you know what? I've heard all before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to let you down, but this is what I want to do, and I'm going to have to do it because I live once, and I don't get a second
YOLO.
chance at life. Yeah, YOLO. Exactly. Send it. That's right.
And if there's no haters, you're not doing anything.
You're not doing anything. Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
If everybody loves you,
if you have you're doing something right.
That's right.
You want haters. You want people to give you feedback. People that hate you.
Yeah, that just helps the algorithm because they'll comment. So
they're hating on you. Is actually loving on you.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, guys, please talk as much as you guys want.
Well, hey, if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yes.
If they want to talk about your company, pick your brain.
Yeah. Y'all can connect with me at my The Real Jesus Ortiz on Instagram, or I'll give you my number as well. You can text me 832-739-0420.
And that's his personal cell phone, correct?
Yes, personal cell phone.
There you go.
Okay. So, and now, guys, we were at Paimon. Then we had a problem. The air started going bad. Remember that incident with the hurricane or whatever?
Oh, yeah, barrel.
So, it made a whole... The landowner was taking time to fix it, and clients were coming in. They were not... We were the ones mad, not at the landowner, because we needed to get it fixed, right? But as our clients were still coming in, and we were telling them, it's hot. You got to do all this. I mean, can we just wait until they fix the air? They were still coming and doing podcasts while it was hot, and they were sweating and still doing podcasts.
Oh, wow.
That's when I learned
commitment
and trust and like from you.
Yes.
But we didn't like that because, it's like, we need the air.
Give them the experience.
Yeah, the experience. Right. So all of that stuff, the landlord is still our friend, but they couldn't fix it. It was taking a long time. Now we were losing clients. People were not coming enough. And one of our clients that we have there, he's like, guys, I have a big idea, an opportunity. I like what you do for us. We do live streaming for him, a live streaming show. He's like, location matter. I want to move to the Galleria area. I want to build something from the ground up where there's a training center, multiple rooms for podcasts. So what do you think if you come on in and we build it together? And we, again, meeting after meeting, because we couldn't understand. You get numbers right and everything. Right. And at the end of the day, we're like, you know what? This makes sense. Location does matter. And we just recently actually moved to a new location now. We're in the Galleria area. Awesome. So now we're on 2121 Sage. And we're barely going to be 3 months in there. And we started seeing it. Like when the build-up started. And again, it was not even done. And people wanted to do podcasts or video work. But now the air and everything works. Location matters. We did our grand opening in August. And I was nervous because I marketed it for maybe a whole month. And I was like, 60 people sign up. And I was like, man, how many people are going to come? My business partner was like, don't worry about it.
Putting on events, that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. My business partner said, don't worry about it. Even if 5, 10 people, it's okay.
It's all good.
Yep. 50 people showed up.
Wow. So
boom.
I was like, whoa. Because I got a DJ. I got a lady coming and bringing elotes.
That's a lot of people.
We had a lot of sponsors, like a little. I made it like a little community thing, you know, not only like for the grand opening. And I was so busy that day that people were like, "What is this room work? What is this? What is the training room?" Like they were asking some. I was trying to hide from people because I wanted to eat something, and I was like, "Let me come here and take a bite of a sandwich."
That's a good problem.
Yeah, that's a good problem. They're like, "Hey, this is the green room." I was like, "All right, now time to get to work." So that was good because I got all of the questions from them out. I wanted them like to be like a tour. It was a grand opening, but for them to know that everything was there, you know, and it was a great turnout. And now we're there. Now it takes time to grow the new location.
Oh,
as people like see us and this like, oh man, you're already famous and this like no. We're in a good location. Yes, we know that.
The work's just begun.
It's just begun.
Fake it till you make
it. Right? But
nice.
The location and everything truly does matter because people like it. They're like I said, we have regulars that come in, coaches. We have coaches, corporate coaches, new people that we're meeting that like they're really cool. Like now since we're not directing and being producers, we're knowing not storytelling. We're knowing their story. We're producing their stories. So we didn't understood that as well. We were always like, oh yeah, we're producing podcast shows for other businesses, and then we have a coach that coaches. She's like, no, guys, have you noticed that you're directing and producing like a movie, other people's podcast show, thinking on a higher scale? Man, that's like you said, the lightning. It made us happier. Like
you're looking at it through a totally different lens.
Yes,
now.
And I was like, and then the people when we started telling them, man, we're creating, we're making sure that everything's right for you. We're producing a high quality podcast on a high quality location, and they were like, huh, you are the directing my producer. You were part of my life now. I was like, holy crap! I like the way it sounded like that. Then the other way when I was pitching it out on events, you're like, what do you do? Oh, I'm just a producer, podcast, you know. It didn't intrigue me. When now I'm like, no, you're a director, man. You're directing their storytelling.
It's awesome.
You should be proud of yourself, man. I was like, holy crap. So me and Miguel are so proud of it. We're proud of Panorama. We got a lot to grow still.
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
And we're still here. And we actually do mobile podcasts as well. When somebody wants us to come bring the whole equipment, we come to your place and we bring it the whole height. Just like we have it at the studio, we bring the whole quality lights and everything to you. And we take care of you.
Awesome. Right.
Yes.
Our setup out of 10. What do you think? Give us an honest
Dude,
rating.
I'm gonna give it a 10 because
really?
You know why?
10? Why?
Because even I know those cameras because I still have that camera on the back.
The handy camera.
I still use it. The C920.
Yeah.
I still use it for some calls. I even use it for my own little video podcast when I do just regular. I always tell people when they come to us, they're like, "Oh, we want to start a podcast in our office," and then they want the higher cameras, but when we tell them the price of the cameras that we have, like, holy crap,
that's too
much.
$500. Like, no,
that's
you spend a couple
$1,000.
Like,
I mean, one of the cameras that we have is already like almost 6,000. One camera, and we have 3 of those. So when they like, what? But I always tell them, you don't need to start like this.
No.
I always tell them, if you have a budget, get the C920. I have it. I use it. People don't even know it's on it.
That handy cam.
Yeah, and then with people that have a little bit of more budget, I give them that. Like, there's the next camera that it's about $698, but that's the one you should start to use it for.
And
podcasts.
then we have a fine.
These are good mics. But I'm gonna send you another link that there's another mic. It's $35 and it's really good.
Okay.
Because we have helped lawyers set up their podcast in their room.
Right.
And they had money, but they had a small budget. So I did my homework and I started using this mic. And I was like, I wish I would have found this mic when I started. Or maybe they didn't have that mic.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, and it's a $35 mic. It looks fantastic. And
sounds
the
good
sound is good. $35.
That's cheap for mic.
Yeah. And we set that equipment for him. He's like, I want a two podcasts. So we gave them a list. We educate them, and they paid us for our time, and we came back in and set up the things to set up, and they're ready. I don't even know if they're actually using it. That's the other thing.
But they have it.
But they have it. Yeah. That's the other thing I actually tell people. If you truly committed to do a podcast and you're gonna start at your place, office, or work, make sure that you're actually gonna commit. Because how are you gonna go spend a $600 camera or $80 camera and you're not gonna do it? It's money you're spending.
I get 3,000 to 4,000 views a week, and thank you guys for supporting us.
Yes, thank you.
But that's from being committed and disciplined every Friday.
Yep.
We go live at the same time, so they know we're on their calendar.
That's good. That's why you have, and this is, you already know, commitment to everything.
It is. That's what moves the needle.
As you committing yourself to your family, your business, your small circle that you have. Even if you have to switch for another circle, that's fine, because life is too short. You just gotta enjoy your life to the fullest, man. I always say we live every day and we gotta die once, so just enjoy every single day. That's what every time I wake up, I work out, I pray, I meditate, I do me. I do me first. I don't worry about the emails or anything, and then I start rolling.
I call it taking my daily meds. Meditate, exercise, diet, sleep.
Yes.
They're very important.
I'm still learning that myself, but when it really is worth
sleep's important.
And sleep
huge.
Is yes.
I didn't took advantage of it before. I was like, so I used to look at everybody. Oh, they're only sleeping 3 hours, but they're hustling and grinding. And I was doing the same thing. I was tired. Meetings, I wasn't giving my 110%.
Right.
Yes.
I'm like,
preparation starts the night before.
I'm not closing the deals. I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm not out there. Now I'm all there.
You're muscling through the deal versus being prepared for the deal.
Oh yes. Yeah. But I loved it, man. Everything that we're doing now, that through this point, and I do a lot of things for the kids.
It's a passion. It's in your belly.
Oh yes. The number one thing that I truly love doing I don't do this for money. The kids, man.
Yeah.
The youth. I've done a lot of events with the kids, kidpreneurs, events with other moms that we create, and kids are. Like I said, they have their own businesses as 8, 12 years old. There's a girl that it's in Sugarland. She's 12, I think. She owns her own bakery. She's going in 2 years.
Wow.
2 years. And she owns her own bakery. Why? Because their parents.
12 years old.
12 years old, because
they supported
it. They believed in her, and they grow it. Man, when I met her, she came, Mr. Jesus, here's my business card. Man.
Wow. That's so weird to see everyone.
Yeah. But I love this. That's, as you can see, these kids make me more happy than anything else, because when I didn't see my daughter for 2 years, I know we got to finish up. The energy of these kids, I see the presence of my daughter in them. So when she's not here with me, I see her spirit, and I'm like, I gotta help the kids, man. Yeah, I just gotta do it.
Yeah, you're a good person.
I just gotta, and they gave me an award, a Kidpreneurship Award. Like I didn't even know that I was gonna win that. We did a big event in City Center, maybe like before COVID, and the moms and I put it up. We didn't thought it was gonna be like super packed. People from LA, Chicago flew over and to that event, and I was just sitting down. I recorded everything. I was like, this is. I was so proud. And they called my name. I was like, hey, we're giving you. I was like, the kids themselves giving that award.
That makes you feel like $1 million, doesn't it?
I have it at my home, on my little office. Yeah. That's the only thing I have in there. I was like, I don't want anything. My computer, that it reminds me that I did something right, and I'm still doing it. And I'm gonna come back with it, because there was a gap time that I stopped doing a lot of the things for the kids.
Yeah.
But that's something that God is calling me back to be like, yeah, man, that what makes you happy too. Right. Do it.
You have a talent.
It makes you happy.
Use it. Yes. So if you have a talent, skill, use it consistently, build it up, and go for it. Take a risk, man.
And sometimes you get paid for it.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes, you do.
And money's not everything. I don't do stuff for money. I do it because I completely enjoy being a part and helping people. I do. Mm-hmm. And then everything else just kind of falls into place after the fact. I don't know how to explain it.
Me neither, man. You, like I said, you don't describe it. You just do it, and then somebody just asks you, "Hey, man, how do you?" They pay you for it. Yeah. Or there's a bigger event or something. Everybody wins and everybody gets paid. Yeah. But because you put in the effort on it and you love it.
You love it.
Don't just do it because of the money.
Attract and engage. Don't chase and convince.
There we go. Oh, that's good. Take that. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. Put that on a t-shirt.
Put it in a t. Oh yeah. Put it on a t-shirt. Yeah, for the next podcast.
Good business idea.
All right. Well, hey, we want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Big shout out to Jesus. Thanks for coming out. Yes, Loved your story, by the way.
Thank you.
Jake?
Yes.
Phenomenal job again.
Thank you. Did a good job.
Jake, man, you keep on doing this.
Substitute for Priscilla. But yeah, I'm going to log off here. Any final thoughts?
Guys, thank you guys, and it's a blessing for being here. And anything that you do in life, guys, just do it. Take the risk. I mean, it's okay. You have to jump in it, learn it, and see if it works. You did it. You don't want to be in the grave and be like somebody else. He didn't do what he wanted to do. Do it right now. I'm doing it, man.
That dream needs to become your vision.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just a daydream.
It's just a daydream. Yeah, yeah. And if it doesn't work, who cares? You did it.
That's right.
You took it out of your heart, and you're like, hey, I stepped on it.
It's a lesson to make you better to do it the next one.
Yes.
It never stops.
Never stops, man. Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next Friday.
Amen to that.
All right. Thanks, guys.